I think it's pretty fitting that the two brothers get 2 episodes for their backstory. Next week seems like we're going to be getting into the action on top of some rabbit backstory possibly. I do like the fact that we did get another episode of just kind of like delving into their past, and even though I didn't think this episode was as intriguing as last week's, I still think it served an interesting purpose, and I think it was far from a bad episode. Now, I know a lot of people who are watching this are just watching it for action based on comment sections that I've seen, and for me personally, I don't think just action is fun. If you just have mindless action, it's only good for a few minutes, but if you have at least some sort of reasoning and kind of idea of the characters fighting, it gives you a purpose of seeing that, so it can be more than just spectacles and flares being shot up. And overall, I don't think the character backstories or even the character writing in this series is anything that remarkable, but I do think it's above average and also does it a lot better than a lot of Battle Royale series where I don't feel like it's beating around the bush too often. I feel like it knows how to get in and get out, and even though most of the backstories aren't anything to write home about, I do think what they've been doing with Dragon and Snake and most of the characters has been intriguing enough that it gives me a purpose of wanting to see them fight, and then obviously you know who's going to win by the end, unless you're still somehow completely oblivious to the ending song telling you the exact order, or the fact that when you see a backstory you're going to see a character die. I don't know how some people are still cluing into that fact of being like, oh, I just cracked the code. It doesn't make sense to me. It was kind of interesting seeing almost like a reverse Robin Hood in a lot of ways, because essentially we see the brothers on trial there and seeing like what they did, and it's very interesting to see that they were going the route of essentially almost a Robin Hood like character. Oh, you steal from the rich and you give to the poor, except when it came to these brothers, they weren't giving to the poor from the goodness of their heart, they were giving to the poor because they just wanted to have fun, and ultimately that fun would always lead to those poor innocent people getting killed or just something along that nature, because we gave you this bunch of money that we stole from these guys who are now going to come to your village and kill you. And it was very interesting to see just more into the mentality of these brothers and see just how sick and twisted they really can be. So it makes it a bit more intriguing going into next week, seeing the fight, just a bit more understanding of both of them and where they're coming from and ultimately where that battle is going to go. And it's going to be pretty fun, I think, honestly, seeing the fact that even though Snake is a headless and armless corpse, he's still going to be able to help his brother. At least he thinks that he's going to be able to serve him because he'll be a distraction that he can come in and take out 2 of the enemy, but you know, it's not always going to play out exactly how these characters think it will, as seen by Sheep underestimating the tiger. But overall, this was interesting. Like, the backstory didn't wow me. I thought at times it did drag a little bit, but once we got into the hospital stuff and the brother essentially losing his brother and then getting paid off by Dragon and Snake saying like, hey, sorry we killed your brother, like, just rubbing salt in the wounds. Who knows what that was going to do to that kid, if it's going to set him off into like a Punisher-like character. But it was interesting in that sense, and I also did like the whole sense of like learning like what they would do to the poor. As you're kind of watching, you're like, okay, they're giving to the poor, oh, but then those people that they helped got brutally killed. So it was just fun to see that, but I did appreciate the fact that even though this wasn't the best backstory, it was still good enough that I felt like it gave us a pretty good understanding of the 2 brothers. So going into next week, that fight's going to be much more intriguing than if we didn't see any of this at all. But overall, that's just me. But I did appreciate the fact that they did confirm some stuff that I was speculating last week, with the fact that Horse isn't an undead corpse, that Fire 100% is confirmed to kill them. So that's pretty interesting, so we know how they can take out the undead. Only Tiger wouldn't have drank the fuel in Snake's tank, then they could still use his flamethrower possibly, but we'll have to see how they're going to take out future corpses going forward. But it's going to be fun to see how that's going to go, but also I like how Ox, even though he understands that he's dealing with an insane drunk right now who wants to essentially kill him, he knows that the enemy of my enemy is going to be my friend for this time being, so they need to take out the corpse that is walking around, because if he just slices them up, they're going to have a repeat of the arms just kind of strangling them. So I like the fact that they are teaming up seemingly right now, and I'm going to be interested to see how Tiger is going to do in the fight, because I do expect Tiger to probably hear everything that's going to be coming, because Dragon's going to be flying down thinking he's going to get the upper hand, and then I think it's going to just all fall to shit for him. It was a pretty good episode. Like, it didn't wow me, but there was some aspects I really enjoyed, but there was a lot of noticeable art quality dips. There's a lot of sloppy animation at times, but nothing really about the episode took me out to the point that I thought it was bad. It was just a good episode overall, and that's enough for this series. Like, it's nothing that we're going to be writing home about, I think, you know, in the coming seasons that we're going to remember as the best of the year. But this is still a fun series to watch every single week, and I'm always looking forward to new episodes. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think of episode 8? And how excited are you for next week to see how everything is going to go down next week? Let me know your thoughts. And before you leave, smack that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.